Everyone, and welcome.
You're not live yet.
Oh, we're not live? Okay.
There you go.
Good evening and welcome everyone to the Select Board meeting of April 22nd, 2025. I'm thrilled to see a full house like this. This is wonderful to see all the smiling faces. And for the folks that are also here virtually, welcome. The first thing on our agenda is public comment. We do limit it to a total of 5 people, 2 minutes. And you're welcome to speak on anything that is not on the agenda this evening. So with that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike Solisi, Police Chief, and I just want to let the board know, over the past year or so, we've been really doing some upgrades to the police department, and we've been working really well with our building department, especially Sean Crowley, and I just wanted to let the board know what a great job he's doing, and I presented him with a letter today, just telling him how much we appreciate him, how much of the hard work he's done, how much money he saved us because he's doing all the work without us having to go to an external vendor. And I think it's really important that we recognize what he's been doing for us over the past year. So I just wanted the board to be aware of that, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've got another one.
No, that's all right. Linda Hathaway, 76 Crescent Street, Town Clerk. I'm here on Town Clerk business. I just want to let you know that we have set a date for a candidates night, which is May 1st at 6:30. The Stow Independent is going to be hosting it, and it will be on Zoom, and so people can attend virtually. The last day to register to vote is April 30th. You can get your vote by mail applications online. The deadline that I must have them is by May 12th. We should have ballots by the end of next week or the beginning of the following week, and as soon as we get them, we'll be mailing them out to all those who've requested them. We also have absentee ballots, which you can request if you're going to be out of town up until noon the day before the election, so until May 16th. We have candidates for every office except Stow Housing Authority. We do have a write-in candidate for the 3rd seat for the library trustee. Richard Fishman is a candidate for write-in, and you'll see information in the Stow Independent and around town. So anyway, looking forward for people to turn out to vote. And we do have a contested race in the Selectman's office. Ingeborg, Lenny Golder, and Dan Peterson.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Is there anybody virtually? No? Okay. Well then, let's move on to our board member updates and comments. Hector?
The Comprehensive Plan Committee is in more fact-finding, review of our draft. Basically, the information we've already gathered, what we wanted to do with it, and we're gonna be asking the public to give us more feedback about where we are, what are some of the goals that we're looking to set forth in the plan, and what they think about it. So we'll be out and about for the next 2 months, gathering more info. So if you see us, please feel free to give us your feedback.
Okay. Thank you. Ingeborg?
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing at this time. Courtney?
I received a communication from Kevin Driscoll, who is the man who did the Paul Revere and Friends ventriloquists presentation for the Council on Aging, and he just wanted to thank Jonathan Daisy and the crew for all the technical assistance, which made everything go smoothly.
Great. And yeah, that really was nice. I happened to be there and witness it, so it was really great. Megan?
I can let you handle
No, go
the
ahead.
update. JT and I were attended the Lexington rededication, all of the festivities in Lexington as special guests of the Lexington Select Board, and we had discussed maybe sending a letter to the Lexington Select Board basically congratulating them thanking them for inviting us and congratulating them. It was a absolutely remarkable time in Lexington this weekend, so let's go.
And with that,
I have one.
Oh.
Sorry, I forgot, I also attended the local celebration of the 250th at the town hall, and the newly reconstituted Historical Society did a really great job. It was a very welcoming event, informative, and just friendly, and there were quite a number of people in attendance.
that's great.
Fewer, I'm sure, than there were in Lexington.
I was sad, we didn't make it back in time.
Yes. Just to add to what Megan was saying, we did go literally for the entire day, and I just wanted to comment, the reenactment at 5:30 in the morning, it was probably the most poignant I have ever seen. For the first time, and they decided to do it for their 250th, is they included the wives and the children in the reenactment, and expressed what the wives actually did to secure the properties, to hide the valuables, all sorts of things, and to take the children to safety because the British were coming. And they literally came out onto the field of battle before the British showed up with their lanterns, and they were hugging and kissing their husbands goodbye and the children. I have to tell you, there was not a dry eye, at least in my area. It really was poignant to see that take place. And the only other comment is, and Megan I think would agree, we really felt extremely welcomed. There was not a disparaging remark of any kind at all. It really was an incredible day.
That's awesome.
And with that, the town administrator's report.
I just have two quick items for you this evening. I am pleased to share that after a very lengthy process, our two new public EV charging stations went live last week.
Oh, great.
So we have one dual port charger at the community center at 509 Great Road and one at Stow Community Park, which is 60 Old Bolton Road. These were purchased through the EV Incentive Program grant from the DEP. So folks can now start utilizing those. And then I would just like to give a thank you to Doug and Sean from the Facilities Department for helping me hang up the American flag bunting in this building. And thank the library staff for steaming them all, because they were very wrinkled and it was driving me crazy. It was a little bit of a last minute decision. I bought them and they put them all up on Friday. I think it looks great. It's nice to see the building so patriotic, so just wanted to thank them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We'll move now to a part that I always enjoy, and that's an appointment of someone coming on to the board. So I will take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to appoint Steven Stewart Jr. as a patrol officer for the Town of Stow Police Department through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
So it has been moved and seconded. Chief?
Thank you. First I wanna say, I know it's only 3 months, but you're gonna get reappointed again. So don't worry about it. It's only because you'll be on the rotation with the rest of us.
Okay.
That would be a cruel joke.
You didn't know that, did you?
Well, they hired somebody else, I'm just a part-time person.
As you know, back in January, Sergeant Scott left, transferred back to Bolton PD, and we've been looking pretty much ever since for someone to fill that spot. We advertised, we did all the normal things that we do, we put it out there for everybody to apply, and we were lucky enough that Stephen came to us and said, hey, I want to work for the town of Stow. I looked at you guys do a lot of great things, a lot of community policing, and he comes from us with over 6 years of experience. He's a sergeant at American International College out in Springfield. This is a little bit different area out here, but very excited to have him here. He's already been trying to make himself part of the department, which is great. He also is extensively trained, post-certified, and teaches at the academy. And so we're gonna be able to have a lot of his knowledge be brought onto the department, which I'm so excited for. Not only that, but he serves on the Army National Guard, and he's been doing that for 12 years. Which, we're always proud of. We have another individual on our department, Brian McCarthy, same thing. He's still serving the country, so in the state, which is amazing. And we're gonna be welcoming him with your approval tonight. I'm very excited to recommend his appointment to you guys. If you have any questions, here he is with his large entourage.
So before we ask any of our questions, what would you like to say, Stephen?
I just wanna say thank you for having me here this evening. Chief, I appreciate your faith in me as being appointed and your recommendation. Just so you all know, I've done a lot of research into this town. But between the population size, the diversity here a little bit, you guys truly have a community that is deeply rooted in just being one together, engaging with each other, and the police department itself engages immensely with the community. I don't know if all of you check their Facebook page, but they're always doing something to be one with the town. And that is something that I'm looking forward to. It's something that I'm big on. I actually created a community outreach program at the college I'm at now. So hopefully you all will see my face as an awful lot of numerous things here as long as you choose to have me. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
That's great.
Any questions or comments from the board? Board?
Who do you have here with you tonight?
So starting up front, I have my mom, Donna, my sister, Gabriella, one of my best friends, Emily, my other best friend, Lauren. My dad is in the back, Steven Stewart Jr., my cousin, Lance, my stepmom, Cheryl, and my partner, Michael. And then in the back over there, I have retired Captain Quattrucci, now PA and a doctorate holder, along with her daughter that you see all the time. Thank you guys for coming. So that's who's here.
That's so wonderful.
Along with Chief Salacy.
And are you one of them?
Don't worry, Steven, I'll just be back in.
I know I'm getting in trouble now.
First black mark, all right. Broken in, you're broken
There's a hole there, there's So you teach at the academy,
I do, yep.
and we saw a brief video of the academy with the outreach that the department does. And there were some pretty mean guys yelling at you. So are you one of those guys?
For the Massachusetts, for the MPTC Academy, absolutely not. That is not me. But for the National Guard Police Academy, yes.
That is you? Okay, so you've got it in you, all right.
So I don't think you've seen a video of me yet. So that's a good thing.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your interest.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanna just extend our appreciation that you find us so appealing and that you really wanna become part of our community and serve with us
Thank you.
together. It really does mean a lot.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it at your approval.
Just for 3 months.
Just for 3, that's it, and then there's another hiring process.
See you then.
Right? Another round of questions, so get ready.
So any other comments or anything?
No.
Further discussion, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The record shows unanimous.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Now go enjoy.
You don't have to sit through the rest of the meeting.
Thank you all for coming out here.
Thank you for coming out here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thanks. Take care.
There'll be more seats now.
And now everyone has to move up to the front row.
And we'll see you in June, I guess. No.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Parents come.
I do too.
Do they have
So-
somewhere on this floor?
Down if I go to the station.
Yeah. Since the public hearing is set for 7:30, it's about 7:15. Next on the agenda is Kate. Is that enough time for you, or?
Oh, that's fine, just fine.
Okay. So please.
All right, thank you so much. Kate Hogan, your state representative, and I always like to come before the board, the town administrator, and the town clerk to sort of give an overview of what's going on and where we're headed, because we're going into budget. So it's always a good time to stop by. And let me just say, always feel free to get in touch with anything and any questions that you might have, either around the budget or anything really, but so the House Ways and Means Committee on Wednesday, or last Wednesday, rolled out a $61 million annual budget for fiscal year '26. It was combined with the traditional sources of income as well as the surtax that's starting to come in. And but it is about 6.4% higher than the governor's. We are moving ahead, making plans, investing, pushing policy, some, not a whole lot this year, but anticipating that things could change radically depending on the budget coming out of Washington and what kinds of monies that we will or will not get. We have seen monies sort of taken away, clawed back, all sorts of ways in which money that had been given out and anticipated have not landed over the last few months. So we move ahead with our budget, and we're prepared to deal with whatever may come in 2025 and moving into '26. There will be no new taxes. I know there had been talk, and there had been in the governor's budget, charitable donation cap. No one appreciated that, especially our nonprofits that struggle to raise money on their own. And other groups found that that was not perhaps a way to do it. And so we pulled back on all of the potential new taxes. The fair share supplemental budget, we appropriated $1.95 billion in surtax resources for education and transportation. You'll see later that it has a favor towards education this year. And also, universal school meals will also be supported again this year, as we know, when that was taken away by the federal government. And we felt it was important to remain a state that continued to provide universal school meals. Free community college, we know that that's going into its first year in its cycle. We're very excited about that. Community college numbers have surged, which is a great sign for both our workforce and the opportunity it provides folks. And very importantly, we've moved up to $150 per pupil in education. Last year it was $104. So what we're hoping, as we had talked to our schools, we talked to our superintendents, this is going to cover a multitude of concerns regarding inflation and its effect on the schools and the ability to keep up with inflation. We know it's been a nagging constant over the last few months, as we've all seen. There will be $22 billion for mass health, and again, I do want to speak to this. Most of the monies that we're most concerned about would be coming out of Medicare, and HHS, which is our largest section of the budget, could be upwards to like $16 billion, and then we'll see when we get there. Last month, Governor Healy signed the remote meeting bill to expand pandemic era policies. I know everyone had been concerned, wanting to move it forward. We have not done a permanent bill because there are so many ways that we need to look at it, so many ways that people want, most people want it, some people don't, some of the communities have concerns. And so what we try to do is keep it, move it forward, extend it so that everybody has it that wants it, and I think eventually we will come to a decision about a permanent, but for the purposes of this year, we are just doing an extension. And in last year's budget, since that's the last time I was here before you, I would just quickly note that, again, universal free community college, the free school meals, the fare-free regional transit service, though we don't necessarily use that much here. There was also an end to the practice of home equity theft. I know that as municipal leaders, you're probably very familiar with the practice where cities and towns can foreclose on homes for taxes owed, sell it, and basically take all of the monies back so that the homeowner receives basically nothing. And that, I don't know how many people you've ever seen come across, but as a state rep, I've seen people end up with nothing. It's a horrible thing to try to work with and to help someone that's in that kind of a situation. We're able to provide $150,000 in earmarks for public safety and another set of cisterns in Stow, $20,000 to Warm Hearts of Stow. They had come and spoken about the needs that they had, some of the difficulty they've had in fundraising, so we're able to help them sort of kickstart Hand Up for those that are helping and providing their own hand up. So $75,000 to Fresh Start Furniture Bank. I don't know if you know those folks, but they do some incredible work. They make a house a home for so many. The Metro West Food System Collaborative, and $30,000 to ORS. Very important for all of the work that they do every year as stewards. And the water quality monitoring is very important. And it's also provided a great deal of information to scientists and anyone else that needs to know about what's going on with our rivers. There are some economic development bills that are around. We're looking at them carefully. I'm going into this particular budget concerned about where we're going to be, but we will certainly do what we need to do to move our towns forward and to keep an eye on where we're going to be should monies be taken away, should monies not appear. And then we'll understand where we are and where we're going. We didn't feel like there was any sense in anticipating that if we did or didn't know where those monies might be. So we will wait. We are very cautious about where and how our budget will be formed, but we do intend to move forward with the budget based on the monies coming in and going out and making plans for our districts and our Commonwealth. And if anybody has any questions, happy to.
You said the budget that came out of the committee was higher than the governor's. Did you highlight what the differences were?
No, but I can definitely show you. It's not dramatic.
Okay.
It's just a little bit different here and there.
And what were some of the differences?
Well, some of them in terms of housing and in terms of monies going out and how they might be separated and dispersed. There's definitely a difference in the amounts of money that are going into housing and into shelters, so.
Yes.
No.
The only question I had was, because it does affect folks directly here, is transportation for the schools. That seems to be a large ticket item for them, and I know they were pushing to see if we couldn't get an increase. Was there any movement on that? Do you know?
Yeah, we've been working on that, and we'll see as we move through if we're gonna be able to provide that in our budget. So
Okay.
definitely take a look. Yes.
May I?
Madam Administrator.
How, has the legislature just started discussing the proposed increase from the governor in Chapter 90 funding? I know she's proposing a significant increase for this upcoming fiscal year. That would be huge for cities and towns. Is that part of the?
It isn't part of the budget discussions, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. It's usually a separate discussion Chapter 90 funding. But it does come around this time of year, so
Okay.
it will definitely be discussed.
How about your PFAS bill? That's making its way back around for
Yes,
a,
yeah, it has been refiled
okay.
and we'll be working on it this year.
and that would include creating a fund or a loan
Yes,
program or
yes.
something?
Both for funding that we might be able to provide and also funding for what might come out of suits that the state, suits that the state has filed, and what might be coming out of that would be going into that kind of a fund, which is why we're trying to set it up.
And then I know, obviously, this is not the year, given everything else that's going on, but, 2.2% increase in UGA does nothing for Stow. I mean, it's like $11,000, and our net offsets are more than that. So I think, something we've been advocating for is increase in UGA to follow state revenue growth, some type of commitment to show that that's increasing. Obviously, we're spending almost 15% on health insurance costs. 2.2% just does not make a dent in the deficits that we need to cover, and I know many of the other towns are in the same boat. Again, I know this is not the right year because of everything else that's happening, but that's something that I would love to continue conversations on in the future.
And this is obvious, it is, and this has been one of the first years that we haven't been able to provide any, increases, that we are keeping it level funded. And always try to start with our schools and our towns, and it's just a very unusual year in terms of what we're dealing with at the state level, so I would anticipate that once, things move forward, we'll be able to look at that again, obviously.
Have there been discussions about federal funding cuts and where that money would come from?
Well, that will probably, yes, but we don't know.
So at this point,
Those things should be happening at the federal level, and we have not heard back any discussions around it, so it's really difficult to know. We only talk about it in terms of anticipating.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks. And again, through the year, I'm sure we'll be in touch, especially if things go a little sideways. We'll be in touch, I'm sure.
and just for the whole board, for those of you who weren't here early chatting, Representative is spearheading the conversations with the state and Masters Academy, and specifically USA Fencing. As you know, we've been having those conversations for a while. Kate is now, we've had 3 meetings, I think, in a week. We had a site visit this morning, Karen, Kate and I. So I said, if anyone can do it, it's her. But she is now all in on the Masters Academy and USA Fencing and trying to work to some agreement, some assistance. So we'll keep you posted, but things have definitely heated up in the last week.
They have, what a great opportunity for Stow.
Oh, it is, and Kate,
And the
thanks for all the
Commonwealth.
effort you're putting into that, cause it really will
But,
mean an awful
Denise has
lot.
really set the stage, and we'll do what we can and keep moving, because wow, it's a great opportunity. Not only for Stow, but the state itself, marvelous, so,
It really is.
great. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Thank you. Thanks for being so accessible too.
Yes.
Thanks, Karen.
Good night.
Good night.
We have 2 minutes.
Yes, we do. 2 minutes before the,
Curious.
well, we could maybe quickly buzz through the FY25 general fund unless you need to do a full explanation on them or anything.
I would recommend you do the minutes, maybe.
Okay.
Might be a little bit easier than transfers.
Okay. We can do the minutes. Take a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the meeting minutes of the April 8th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments?
I like the way it addressed your joke about turning 30.
I know.
That was
Like, wow, I'd like to know how it knew I was joking.
So this is still AI?
The plan is to continue using it. We've bought it for the year, so we will continue using it.
That's great. Any other comments or? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Let the record show it is unanimous. Did we have a vote?
Perhaps could correct the Shelburne vote.
That's what I would love to
So
know.
if
yes.
you could take that item. So that was just, when Phoebe was typing up the motions, it said all alcohol instead of wine and malt. The
Right.
paperwork, the discussion was all surrounding wine and malt. We just wanted to correct it for the record.
Okay, I can take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to amend the wording for the type of liquor license voted for Shelburne Farms Section 12 liquor license at the April 8th, 2025 meeting to read, I move to approve the Section 12 seasonal on-premises wine and malt beverages liquor license application for Shelburne Farm at 106 West Acton Road in Stow, as described in the application received February 20th, 2025, and subject to final approval by the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other comments? Seeing and hearing none. All those
Good catch.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now, notice is hereby given under chapter 138 of the general laws that Nick Rose Spirits Inc., DBA Colonial Spirits of Stow, 117 Great Road, Stow, has applied for a transfer of liquor license to 117 Great Road Limited Liability Corporation manager Nikhilbhai Patel, I think is the correct pronunciation, 1948 Middlesex Street, apartment 33, Lowell, Mass. 01851. A public hearing will be held on the license applications on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. in the Stow Town Building, 380 Great Road, with attendance in person or via Zoom. Published in the Stow Independent on Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Can I get a motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to open the public hearing.
Second.
And this requires a roll call vote. Mr. Costanzas,
Aye.
Ms. Higman Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Fracher,
Aye.
Ms. Birch McMichael,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Let the record show it's unanimous. Okay. It is now open.
You have the applicant, I believe the current, the transfer owner, and the attorney is on. They're all on.
Okay.
Oh, we're on video? Yes. Good evening, board. My name is Matthew Porter. I'm the attorney for 117 Gray Road LLC. Who's the applicant before you this evening? Along with me on the Zoom hearing is Nikhilbhai Patel. Mr. Patel is one of the principals of the LLC. He's also the proposed license manager. So pleased with the board, I can just give a bit of background as the application before you.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So this is a request for a transfer of license, as well as pledge of inventory, and pledge of license to the seller, Nick Rose. This all relates to the sale of Colonial Wine and Spirits at 117 Great Road. 117 Great Road LLC, along with Nikhil Patel, is comprised of him, Prashant Patel, Amar Patel, Baresh Patel, Mayur Kumar Patel, and Vinod Patel. So a very experienced operating group coming in. Nikhil, along with being one of the owners and the LLC managers, is also going to be the proposed license manager, meaning he'll be the one there 40, 50, I'm sure, if not more hours per week. So he'll be overseeing the day-to-day operations. He's been in the liquor industry for several years, has been helping to manage a location in Hudson. This is now his opportunity to buy his own store and help run it with his other partners. So very experienced ownership group coming in, no major anticipated changes to the business. So no structural changes to the building, no changes to the hours. So I think from an outward perspective, it'll continue to operate the way that it has been, just with the new ownership group in place. In addition to the transfer of license, we're also asking the board to approve the pledge of license to Nick Rose Spirits. Nick Rose Spirits is the current owner, as I'm sure you know. They're helping to finance the transaction. And so as part of financing the transaction, we're asking for approval of the pledge going back to Nick Rose. But Other than that, everything is in order. It's been a very smooth transaction thus far between buyer and seller. Their lease is in place, all their financing is in order, and so if the board approves it today, it'll go off to the ABCC for final approval. But certainly with that, I can answer any questions that the board may have. Mr. Patel can as well.
Does Mr. Patel have anything that he would like to say?
What are you gonna look at this guy?
Where is he?
Was he on?
No?
Right. He must have zoomed in.
So I'm unmuted, I don't know.
No, he doesn't want to say anything.
I'm not. But the application is pretty straightforward. It certainly, speaks for itself.
Okay.
It seems fine.
Any questions?
Not from me.
There was something that he mentioned about Nick Rose's financing the sale?
Yeah.
Did I hear
Correct.
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
so essentially here, with instead of a bank being involved for a buyer, and them taking out a loan to purchase the business, the seller is basically acting as the bank. So
Okay.
that they're financing the purchase, and so as a result of that, they're asking for the pledge of license.
But they won't be involved in the operations once the sale goes through?
No, the pledge is just collateral, it's essentially a, mortgage placed against the business, so it's to secure they're no longer in operation of that license. No, they're basically just the bank now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Oh,
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
And I just wanna confirm, so the name will change to Wine and Spirits of Stow, that's the proposed new name?
Yeah, that is correct. Yep. So they'll obviously have to go through the building department and, get all sign approval, but, so it's just a rebranding of the store itself.
Okay. Okay. Seeing and hearing any other comments or questions? No? Okay. I'll take the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the public hearing for the transfer of liquor license from Nick Rose Spirits Incorporated DBA Colonial Spirits of Stow, 117 Great Road, Stow, to 117 Great Road LLC, Nikhilbhai Patel, manager, be closed.
This requires a roll call vote, so Mr. Costanzas.
Before you make a vote, you didn't ask the public, it's a public hearing, I just wanna make sure there's no one from the public that wanted to speak.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay. I
My
tried to get your
oversight.
attention, but.
Nope. Yes, before we do take the vote, are there any comments from the public? Seeing and hearing none. We'll now do the roll call vote to close the hearing. Mr. Costanzas.
Aye.
Ms. Segman Clark.
Aye.
Ms. Frazier.
Aye.
Ms. Birch McMichael.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Let the record show it is unanimous. So the hearing itself is closed.
Make a motion on
Absolutely.
site transfer. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the transfer of the Section 15 off-premises all alcohol liquor license held by Nick Rose Spirits Incorporated, 117 Great Road, Stow, to 117 Great Road LLC, Nikhilbhai Patel, manager, as described in the application received March 24th, 2025, and subject to final approval by the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. Let's see, and I further move to sign the licensing authority certificate for submission to the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any comments? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show it is unanimous. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
I apologize to do this, but the ABCC will require just a roll call vote for the pledge of license as well. So I didn't want to interrupt in the middle of that, but if we could just add approval for the pledge of license to Nick Rose, please.
Okay, well, we can do that.
Thank you.
Let's see, Mr. Chair, I move to include,
I think you could just say approve as a new motion.
approve the pledge of license
That's perfect.
for, can I just say the transfer? Or,
No, so it would just be
I'll
to
name the
approve the
parties.
pledge of license to Nick Rose,
to
you know,
Nick Rose?
Nick Rose spiriting.
Thank you. I move to approve the pledge of license to Nick Rose Spirits, Inc.
And with that new motion, do we have a second?
Second.
This will, any further discussion? Anything from the public? No? Okay. This does require a roll call vote for this. Mr. Costanzas,
Aye.
Ms. Hegman Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Frazier,
Aye.
Ms. Birch McMichael,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Let the record show it is unanimous.
Best wishes to
Excellent.
the
Thank
new
you so much
owners.
for your
Thank
time.
you. Best
Thank
wishes.
you.
Good luck.
Thank
I
you.
know.
Good luck. Okay.
And before you leave, I have to have you sign, I made some changes while he was talking, so I'll have you sign the form.
Yep. That's fine, okay. Next on our agenda, the Hale High School Reunion Committee to request a granite marker at former site of Hale High School. I'll take the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the request of the Hale High School Reunion Committee to place a granite marker at the former site of the Hale High School at 16 Crescent Street.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Discussion. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to, I'm Robert Norton, I'm the treasurer of the reunion committee, and there's two other members of the committee here also. And one of the reasons we've always wanted to do it is most people, and a lot of new people in town don't even realize it Stow had its own high school. And the last class to graduate, I was in that was 61, so there's still some of us around. And the other thing is I had given you copies of what we're gonna do there.
Yeah.
And just so that I know you'd want to approve the wording and everything.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna coordinate the location with Bruce Fletcher because he has to put a monument there for Doug Treffry also, for that tree that they planted.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'd also like to state that this whole thing was financed by former students.
Oh,
Wow,
Wonderful.
that's wonderful.
yeah.
No, all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any further comments?
I think it's great.
It's wonderful.
I think it's wonderful, and I think it's great that the former students felt as strongly as they did to pledge and put this together. So, with that, all those in favor,
Aye.
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 let the record show it is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
It means a lot to us, so thank you.
I'm glad.
Yes. And next on the agenda will be our town warrant. I'll take a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 2025 annual town meeting warrant as presented at this meeting.
Second.
There's been a motion and seconded. Any comments, questions? Madam Administrator.
May I ask that as presented may mean any last minute spelling or
Yeah.
minor corrections be included?
Yes.
Thank you. Courtney had given me some, but I don't know which version, so I will go through one last time before I send it off to print in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
You wanna talk about?
I did ask for comment.
I didn't know, okay. I didn't know if there were.
Oh, right.
Nothing.
Okay.
Sometimes we talk about.
Well, there were some different
There were
articles, from
different
last- there's some
articles.
changes
Yeah.
since the last time you've seen it, so I didn't know if you wanted to discuss anything.
Does anybody want to?
It's up to the board.
Well, were there changes?
Yes, so there are a couple articles that were added since the last time you saw it, at the end. We talked about, let me just pull up, make sure I have the right article in front of me. So we had talked about Article 45, I believe, but you didn't have it in your print version.
Right.
Article 46 is a new article that came about last week when the EV charging stations went live. We need an avenue to collect and pay out funding for it, so that has been added. And there are changes in the capital article from when you saw it last. The town building walkway has increased from $250,000 to $275,000, based on the engineer's most recent estimate. And then the two articles that deal with the roof, one from the police station and one for Flag Hill, it's incorporated in Flag Hill, have both been decreased based on some revised estimates that we received. So those two were decreased, the walkway has increased, and then the articles at the end have been added. Otherwise, there have been no changes, other than this does incorporate any council changes, any corrections that we've made, dates and whatnot. But the substance, those are the only substantive changes since the last meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions?
No, I'm
Seeing and
happy.
hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
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 Let the record show it is unanimous. Fiscal year 2025 year-end transfers. I'll take a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the fiscal year 2025 year-end transfers as presented by the town administrator.
Second.
Madam Administrator, you're up.
So we do these every year. The state law allows us the last 3 months of the fiscal year and the first month of the new fiscal year to make interdepartmental transfers with the vote of the select board and the finance committee. Finance committee met last week and approved these, now presenting it to you. The column on the left is where we will be taking money from. The column on the right is where we will be transferring it to. Where we are taking money from are from several wage lines that have been vacant for most of the year. And we do not anticipate filling them before July 1st. And with the fire department, the majority of that is we're taking them from the wage lines that have been unfilled and moving it over to the overtime line and the wage lines that have been covering those vacancies. And then there was the matter of $126,000 that we needed to cover from snow and ice. So that was where any excess money that we had, looked through, that was primarily the procurement line, some DPW wage money, and some excess police department money has been moved to cover the snow and ice deficit. So the total that we're moving is $354,600. And this will still leave some funds available if we need to do another round before the end of the year to close out the books, although I'm hoping not. Hopefully this will take care of everything else, but I'm happy to answer any questions on any of the transfers.
No, it looks
No?
pretty self-explanatory. And it's just kind of a wow with the snow and ice.
Yes.
Those icy,
There's ice, ice,
spring.
more ice.
Yeah, it was. Okay. And upon approval by the board, I will then just sign as the chair. So, all those in favor of the transfers?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The board, the record show it is unanimous, and I am signing. You don't need me to put unanimous vote, do you, on here? Okay,
Thank you.
very good. That's done, okay. Discussion of childcare at town meeting. Obviously, there'll be no vote. This is just opening up a discussion. Anybody's thoughts, comments?
Thank you for providing information about other towns.
So this was, so the moderator sent me a list that he gathered through the moderator's listserv. And then the bottom ones are from Jackie's letter to the board. So some of those I was not able to find any information on. The ones above, obviously, I found it. It differs, I mean, I think there's 13 towns here out of 351 that we were able to find that provide some sort of childcare. Many of them, it's the recreation department. There's a per child cost. As you can see, some of them provide snacks, some of them don't. Some of them are run by the school department and National Honor Society kids. There's really no rhyme or reason, and there's not a standard. There was one, I think I noted, I think Orleans provided it last year. It's not listed as an option for 2025. There were a couple of those that they tried it once and have not continued it. But I just wanted to give you the towns that they mentioned and then what we were able to find for other towns that were offering it. I actually did an overall search as well and not just took those lists, and I think I found one additional one. I think Tewksbury might have been, but I could not find any other communities. So I did want to just provide you with that.
That's great.
And also in that research, it seemed like some of them were only doing it if it was like a major issue going on for the town.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the consensus was, from the information I was able to ascertain, that it really didn't have an impact unless it was a larger town meeting with a sort of special interest topic. And, you know, I don't wanna put him on the spot, but the moderator is here and he may have other information. But it did not really seem to, they didn't get the numbers when it was sort of a run-of-the-mill town meeting, which is, I think, why some of the towns are only running it. One of them only ran it for a special town meeting. One of them ran it last year. My guess is there was a larger item on their warrant.
Comments, just,
Do we have any idea what it would cost to run it? Well, I'm assuming our rec department is not capable of doing this, because we have such a small rec department.
So, well, I can tell you at this time, the rec commission was not supportive of bringing this in. Obviously, it's a weekend, we would have to have either students from our summer program or the after-school program would have to, I assume, would be the ones to oversee it. Then they would need adult supervision. We do obviously pay an hourly rate for all of them, so we would have to have wages for them. With these programs run by the rec department, the charge, that it's a revolving account, so the money comes in, would then cover those costs. You know, if that's something the board wants to engage in discussions with the rec commission for future town meetings, I think that's something we could do. Obviously, it's not something that we have planned or budgeted for next month.
Yeah, I think for me, any kind of childcare at town meeting would have to have some kind of a financial buy-in from the families. So I like the idea of $20 for a family or whatever. Certainly I wouldn't wanna price anyone out of that also, so I would say that any discussions that we would have about that with the rec commission would also allow for people to apply for some kind of a
Assistance.
some kind of an assistant. And I'm not sure how many people would take you up on that, or them up on that, but I would like it to just be something that is at least written down. But no, I don't know. I think there needs to be some kind of a financial buy-in to start. Because I definitely see that there is value. I mean, my kids are old enough to stay at home by themselves now, but I can see that there is value for that if both parents want to participate in, or if it's a single parent. Like, if somebody wants to be able to participate in town meeting, that shouldn't be a deterrent. But I also don't feel that falls solely on the town to finance that either. So I think that, like, if we could facilitate it through the rec department, but that the families also then need to pay for that, but that would be where I would want to start the discussion.
okay.
Well, can I just comment back on that?
Mhm.
So to say to start, so we wouldn't be able to start and then not continue that. I mean, the purpose of a revolving fund is not profit. You have to collect the fees to run the program.
Okay.
So if you're doing scholarshiping, then you have to increase the rest of the fees because that would have to cover any scholarships. And if you decide you don't wanna charge, then all of the other recreation programs that people are paying for would offset those costs. So if it was something that we were starting as a recreation program with a cost, it would have to
Okay.
remain that way.
Okay.
We don't budget, the only budget we do for the recreation department is for the director's salary, a portion of the admin salary, and then their landscaping, cause those are not covered by revolving fees. Everything else in the rec department is covered by what they take in to support their programs.
Okay.
So that, if you wanna start that, it would have to remain that way.
Okay.
Because we don't have any other, unless you wanted to start budgeting for it through the general fund, we don't have any other budget or funding mechanism.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, I'd like to hear your comment.
So I did a really informal.
Can you just identify
survey.
yourself for us, please?
Oh, sorry, Jim Salvi, 74 West Acton Road,
Thank you.
Town Moderator. I did a very informal survey. I think I did it before this subject came up, because I was interested, because we had tried it for the first time in 2023, continued it for the specials that year and into 2024. We had had enough experience that I was starting to form my own conclusions, and I wanted to see what other towns' experience had been. And Denise summarized the results of my survey. I mean, definitely a minority of towns does it. And you're right that some towns do it occasionally for what they think are big town meetings. Some towns seem to have done it and abandoned it, and then a few towns, it's a permanent feature. What I was mostly interested in was to what extent, if any, did it boost our attendance? And I asked that question, and other towns' experience was the same as ours, which is in a big town meeting where there is something on the warrant that is going to attract a lot of attention, particularly from parents. Think of our 2023 town meeting where the library was on. That was the first time we had the fairly elaborate kids' town meeting. And we topped out at 290 at that town meeting, which was a little on the high side. And we hovered between 240 and 250 for a large part of the meeting, the 6-hour meeting. So we got slightly more than our usual 210, 220, and possibly held on to them for a little bit longer. And I remember saying at a follow-up meeting that I credited Kids Town meeting with boosting our attendance by 30 to 50 people. That's really informal, just off the cuff, but what it didn't do, that's what it did. What it didn't do was in a run-of-the-mill, for lack of a better word, boring annual town meeting, like let's say last year's, nothing particular, I don't think it helped at all. So it's not like it fosters a sense of, hey, I know I should be going to town meeting and now I finally have a way to do it. Instead, it seems, when there is already a motivation, it facilitates attendance. So I just wanted to make that clear.
No, that's good information.
Yes.
So I was, we just talked about the rec commission, but some of these towns are using the school department. We would have to find a home for it. And then we'd have to find out what the real cost is in terms of salaries and times and overtime and that kind of thing. And then I think we could make a decision that if parents are able to pay, whether the payment covers the cost of I noticed one town has a 2-hour limit. So some of these, like the 6-hour town meeting, granted, people may come for just one particular big ticket item. But my point is, I think we need a little more information. I think it is incumbent on us to do that research, to find out, and then make a decision with all the facts. Because I think it is a nice thing to offer the public. But in these days, with our budget and we just heard our representative that, even the state budget is unknown, our budget is unknown, grant programs are not forthcoming. So I think that maybe we had two individuals here who were proponents of this and wrote those letters, and thank you for submitting them. I think perhaps, we could, I don't know who we is, but, talk to the school department, talk to the town, maybe the library, because they do children's programs, and maybe the rec commission, and just see if there's a home for it. And then we have to find out whether it's affordable for Stow, not this year with our current budget, but perhaps for future years. But I think it's a longer step than just saying, yes, it's a good idea.
Yes, Courtney.
I have a couple of questions. Would there be any additional sort of liability associated with this? Any additional insurance that we would want to carry or anything like that? And
So it depends what it is. If it's a sort of just a, for lack of a better term, babysitting service, probably not. When it was more active, with the fundraising the first year, they got insurance because it involved sports and running around outside and jumping up and down and things like that. So it really depends. My guess is if we were to do this in the school, they would require some type of liability insurance to exclude any liability from them. Now, would our normal policy cover it? Maybe. We obviously have a summer program and an after-school program. We don't necessarily have weekend programs. It would depend on who's running it. If it's volunteers, if it's a school, well, they may not want to provide liability.
so there might be an additional cost.
There may be, and it may be covered under our current policy. I just don't know that.
And my other musing / question is, if in these other towns, there's some cost to the family, and I see it's, perhaps somewhat modest, but how does that differ from the parents hiring someone at home to take care of their children? So $20 or so
Cheaper.
$30 is cheaper than a babysitter.
Oh, yeah.
We don't work for 50 cents an hour anymore. That's how much I got paid, right?
It's never my
I
thing
can't get somebody to
really.
watch my dog for $25, so.
Sorry to hear that. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Just that I hope we can continue discussions. It'd be nice to have Jackie and Joanna come back in and see if they had any other ideas about where to work, possibly with the town administrator to discuss what possible structures we could find to make this happen. It does sound like the more common way to do it, of the few towns that do it, is have it for big town meetings and not necessarily all town meetings. But it'd be nice to see this move forward.
Okay, at this point, I guess I will close discussion on it. I think valid points were brought up. I do think we need more information, as you had mentioned, Ingeborg, as far as what the real costs would be. And to reach out to the different folks, because as you said, Madam Administrator, if the school gets involved, they may want additional insurance and things like that, so I think we need to,
I mean, my guess is the school does not want to get involved, because they did not want to provide the services when we were dealing with a $241 million school vote. They wanted nothing to do with this. So my guess is they want no part of this.
Well, and
But-
that's the data we have to have.
yeah. And if they don't, that's fine, and if there is nobody else that really wants to take it on, well, that kind of tells us something, as well. So if it makes sense, we can set this up at a future agenda. with the numbers of what the real cost would be, and if in fact there is someone who would be willing to take it on, and find a home for it. Okay. I believe we were at board correspondence.
Yeah, no comments on those.
I have one comment.
Okay.
I found that one letter that we received was fairly discourteous to all parties it was addressed to. And I'm sure the writer is upset. And I'm glad that they wrote to us, and I am not glad of the lack of courtesy. I think the planning board works very hard. We here do, our thing, which is to participate in efforts by other groups in town government, and I think the amount of time that the planning board has spent on this is part of their very hard work that they do, and I just think it is inconsiderate to kick them in the shins for the 3-hour meetings that they go through 3 times a month.
Okay. Might as well take them duly noted. And I don't think anybody on this board would disagree with those comments at all. And we'll leave it at that. I will take one final motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.